Good morning. This is going to be a Sandbox mod how-to video and an update video on the state of Sandbox. So right now the original Sandbox mod is not currently updated against the current version of the game, and I think this is because the WRD noob chap, who I think is the same chap but I'm not entirely sure, is just busy and hasn't been able to get back to working on this. So yesterday I found out Mr. Griffen has done some work, and on his GitHub he has released, in essence he's forked it and has fixed the problem and has released this. So I'm gathering the details. I'll put these at the bottom of the video for more information. Now, I often have people asking me how to install, how to run the Sandbox mod, so I'm going to take a little time out here to show how it's done. Your first thing is to go grab the installer for the version here, good 1820. So this version here, which is 6.0.5 as of the current date, October 2021. The older version doesn't work with the new two hotfixes, and fair warning to anybody, neither of these cater for the South African, so if you have them, you're not going to see them at this time. I think this is because the mod takes pieces of the older game code, and that means the South Africans are currently kind of excluded, so it is what it is. Once you have it, you run this. Make sure you run as admin. Oh wait, let's go over this. You got to download the installer and put it into the directory. So here's the directory. Once you put it in there, you run as admin.
Don't be too proud of this technology.
This will go and get from the GitHub the 6.0.5 version, assuming you've downloaded the right Sandbox mod installer. It's going to gather the mod. Do as it says, don't close. Right, while we wait for that, the Discord for the Sandbox mod Discord is here. For this version, I'm happy to try and help, and Mr. Griffen is the creator. So There we go. Okay, so it can take a few minutes to download depending on your internet. So, on the first time that you install, you get lots of options which you can choose from. Now, something to be aware of is that if you play with friends, everyone needs to be on the same settings. So, I'll talk about that in a minute, but let's do this and set these up. So, more starting points, more income options, more time options, 10v10. Obviously, you could choose what your preferences are, but I'll take my Navy maps unlocked. Now, you will generally need to make all decks blue for, and before you do this, please, you need to understand that the way this works is that you can lose your decks. So, my suggestion is that if you've built a lot of decks, go into the game, go into your decks, choose export, take the text string, and then basically put that text string into a notepad file or something similar, so that you don't lose your decks that you build. When you flip this to blue 4, your current red 4 decks won't really work. You need to rebuild them as blue 4. I'll explain that a bit later, but it's to do with how the extension is. It doesn't really work if they don't set this to blue 4, so it's important you normally set that. I normally say no, I don't want prototypes, I want all units to be available, I want 15 slots, I want 19, I'm not sure about that 99 actually, I'm going to leave that off. Every unit has 9999, every deck gets 900 points, and then I go, fobs have unlimited supply. Let's see what else we want here. I do all units have a 1 second spawn time. And I think I'm happy to go. So once you have a set of settings, if you play with friends, then look at this at the beginning, because in a minute I'll show you there's a single file you distribute to your friends to ensure you all get the same game. If you've got different settings, your games are going to have desyncs, it won't work right, and so on. So it's important that you agree a set of rules, and then you're going to kind of live by that with your friends. So we install it, it begins the patching process. And this can take a few minutes while it builds this. Now, as I understand it, what this does is it takes away the DAT file. The DAT file is built out of XML files, and it makes amendments to the XML files in the DAT file. When it finishes, it rebuilds the DAT file and places it in a directory, which we'll look at in a minute. Alright, let's have a chat with Mr. Griffen. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Griffen. I'm just doing a little video on how to install and run things, so thank you for answering the call.
Good morning. That was a little late, but
Late for you, maybe. Still feels like that for me.
yeah. Okay.
So I'm just going through the patching stage here, and I'm going to just show people how they can put the patch list into the directory afterwards and give it to their friends. So I'm just going over a couple of things.
Yeah, a better idea, instead of giving the patch list, it's a better idea to give the NDF file.
A better idea.
Because that's the NDF file contains all the game data and all the XML files compressed.
Well, historically, the patch file, in fact, if you read the notes from WRD that patch file is his method for handling this, so maybe something's a bit weird there. In theory, the patch file should be, I mean, I've used it all the way through the version, so it works. I have no problem showing people the NDF file, though, don't worry. We'll show them both methods.
Yeah, it didn't work yesterday, so I thought it was. Where did he say that?
Yeah, if you look in, let's see, if you go to the Discord.
Common questions.
Yeah, if you go to the Discord and you look on the, I think it's common questions. Yeah, when I try and play with another player, we keep desyncing. So it's the third one down. Make sure you are playing with the same exact features. If you have the newest version of the installer, there's a file named patchlist.exe. Text in your Sandbox folder after you download it. If you give this file to a friend and they put it in the Wargame directory, it will install the features listed. And that's when the UI doesn't show up anymore. It just runs off that patch list. So maybe that's something later if WRD Noob shows up again that you guys could discuss. I don't know what might break there. In the meantime, my patching has finished. So I'm just going to exit that. Now, talking about this, in the Sandbox folder, it creates this patchlist.exe. So the theory was, if you copy this and you move it to the... I'm doing this visually in the video. If you move it to this folder here, if you then run this Sandbox mod, either you or someone else, instead of getting the UI with the tick boxes, it's just going to run off that patch list and take the options of the patch list. Now, if that does not work, just as Mr. Griffen was saying, you go into data, you go into Wargame, you go into PC, you go into the latest version, which is 59638. You take your ndf_win.dat and you give a copy of that to your friends, and they back up their current version of that and drop that into this directory. So forget the F, depends on your machine, but it's going to be this directory: SteamLibrary, SteamApps, Common, Wargame Red Dragon, Data, Wargame PC 59638. Now it could be that without knowing more, I don't know what else the Sandbox changed, but it could be that just distributing this file between friends would work. This ndf_win would work. But anyway, so let me mark that down. Let's copy that and put that into here. Take the F out. I'll just put Driveletter, depending on what they use. And we've got the I'll put here playing with friends. Did you I was talking to George later last night. I think he came on, he was a bit drunk, and we were talking about just how crazy the very high finance is when you choose it in the game. So this is what I'm going to copy here.
I'm not sure if the ndf.win thing is a good idea to...
Yeah, I think you still have to do the Sandbox mod, right? I think just running the NDF thing may not work.
I think it would work, but the problem is now I have looked a little bit into some of the XML files over the night and stuff, and it's not only in the NDF underscore win.dat file
that it makes
changes are made.
changes.
They are
Yeah,
also
yeah, that's
making
what.
changes in some of the other files, like cc underscore 4.dat and cc underscore win.dat.
Right. So just the NDF file, unless you actually run the thing. So
Yeah,
there's
I
two.
think the best idea is to run the thing.
Yeah, I think you have to run. So playing with friends.
And if that doesn't work, then copy each other's screens, like what settings.
Yeah. Well, that this patch list should do that. It should make sure it's consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
That's by design. So maybe it's something to work through. But playing with friends,
Maybe I did it wrong.
who knows if you get desyncs, then get all players to check that they have placed the same
Where are you typing?
into a notepad, because I'm going to copy this into the bottom of the YouTube thing.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, I'm actually streaming on my Discord as well. So patchlist.exe, and have placed this in the if you still get issues, then copy the NDF_win.dat from one player to all the others.
Yeah.
And this goes into this directory here. There we go, Driveletter. Okay, so got lots of good info there, and now I'm going to run the actual game. So, because people still ask me questions about this. Wargame Red Dragon. So, atypically, I think the diagnostic that most people do once we play the mod a bit is if you create a deck and you go to the nation state here, you want to see the infinite units down here at the bottom. If you see that, generally it's usually a good indicator that the mod is installed and is working. It doesn't mean you're all using the same settings. Again, that depends on the patch file and perhaps the NDF, but initial checks, if you check this is usually a good sign that the mod is working. If you ever see these suddenly appear in the middle, you should go and check, because it's likely that Eigen have released an update and it's cocked the mod up. So that's atypically a symptom you can see. If your decks disappear or change and suddenly these two items here either disappear or end up in the middle here, that's an indicator that the mod is buggered. So a note on decks, just to show what you can get once you have the mod installed, is I'll do a test deck. You need to choose blue for, don't choose red for when you're building decks once you have the mod installed. So you actually get, although it shows you 9 boxes, you get 15 boxes, so you get some that go off screen. And the prototypes are listed in here, they're not hidden anymore if you choose the no prototype option. And when you choose the units, so let's choose these guys, you get... Did you change anything else, Griffen? Because now yesterday I got a different number set, but now I am getting 9,999.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's changing every day.
Okay.
I have not changed anything.
Yeah, cool. So
I'm gonna look into it.
yeah, no problem. So I'm now getting the full, as you see here, I now have 9,999 HQ units that I can bring out. And it's the same for these guys. So I just check the fobs. What do we get for fobs? I think it says 2, but because they're basically unlimited. Oh, it actually says 1. Interesting. Okay. It still says 160,000 liters, but we think they're pretty unlimited.
Cannot type unlimited down there. It's
It's in the XML somewhere, right? So
no, it's because it's only in numbers,
okay.
so you cannot change it to unlimited.
I learn something new every day with this. So you can build, just to explain the 9 squares here and the fact that you can go up to 15, is in this area of the game where you're building the decks, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 disappear, and you can't unless you delete the items. So for example, I can keep going here, and if you look at the activation points, you'll see it keeps going up, which is an indicator that you are now I have 10 units, now I have 11, now I have 12, now I have 13, 14, 15, and 15 is the max. Yeah, 15 is the max. So I've now got 15 boxes filled in. If I want to edit or change 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the only way that I know of dealing with that is you just have to go back and delete some of the earlier ones, and then these ones drop back in and you can make amendments. So in handling 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you have to be a little bit thoughtful, because once they go off the screen you can't really edit them unless you delete back. So no problem with that, but just be aware. Now in game, once you have the units, there's a slider underneath the 15 units, which I'll show you in a minute. But here you just have to be a little careful about the 15 units you select, because like 6 of them are going to be off screen that you don't see, or 5 of them are going to be off screen that you don't see. And this applies to all of the deck areas, unless you choose some modifier when you build the deck. So when you start the deck, you can choose countries, you can choose some other slots. I'm not sure what effect. I don't know if that takes you any extra in any direction, but you can play around with that. I'm not sure about whether the Sandbox mod gives you the right to make everything elite. It's possible, because I'm seeing here when I choose it.
It does. You can just click on elite and then.
So another benefit of the Sandbox mod is that you're able to build the very powerful armies that you might have always kind of wanted to do but couldn't, because the game didn't, like, it tried to make you earn your training through the usage in the game. So that's another good thing. Yeah, so there you go. That's basically deck building. You can choose your countries. So if you do something like that, then you get the UK. If you take that away and you choose the Russians, you can get just the Russian stuff. And you can obviously select, and you'll get a wider choice by doing that. In the standard game, it forces you into certain coalitions, but here you can make your own coalitions up. You could do the Israelis and the Finns fighting together for some strange reason and ignore geography. Yeah, so let me go back here. So I'll quit that. Discard, we don't need that. So when you build the decks, even if you build a red 4 deck, you have to build it as a blue 4. Be aware of that. It's just that because of the way the mod works, every unit has to be blue 4. And I picked up on something. Well, no, I didn't. Mr. Griffen picked up something with me yesterday. Why did I do that? I didn't want to quit the game. Silly me. Picked up that when you have a battle, you need to select blue 4 that you're fighting against. And I couldn't remember having to do that, but so if we go for a multiplayer game and I do create and I say 4v4 and I say private, I'm not going to change any of these. I do create. Your opposition, you need to set this to blue 4. And then you can put your blue 4 armies in here. So when you do very hard, you get the selection of the blue 4 armies that you can fight against. If you don't change that and you do confrontation, then down here you suddenly get a limitation that means your blue decks you've built you can't really fight against. So you need to make sure you pick a confrontation, and your opposition can be the blue 4 armies, and then you can put in all the red 4 armies that you may have built. And that's an important point about everything must be blue 4. If you don't know any better, you might initially think that this can only be red 4, but no, you can set that here, as Mr. Griffen advised me yesterday. And I don't remember ever having to do that, but once it's set, maybe that's why. Maybe I set it long ago, and it always stays blue 4.
Actually, it's the setting you can choose when you download the mod. You can choose to make so you only can use blue 4. If you don't tick the setting in the mod installer, you can still use red 4.
Oh really? Has he fixed that? 'Cause
Yeah.
it used to be.
Yeah.
It really used to be a problem that everything had to be blue 4. Maybe he fixed that. I mean, historically it was.
Worked.
Oh, we'd have to test that, because it was always historically that you had to set everything to blue 4. And the problem with that is that when you install the mod, it wrecks all your armies. If you've built a load of red 4 armies, you can't use them in the mod, because the way the mod used to work was you had to build everything as blue 4.
Pretty sure it's working.
I wonder if that's still the same. Hang on, let's have a look in the common questions. So he's got that there. When I try playing the game and the count goes to 0 and the game ends, if you select the feature to move all units to blue 4, then you must change the lobby opposition setting the blue 4 so the AI has valid decks. Install instructions. Maybe they did. Maybe they really did fix that then. Because it used to be that you really had to set everything to blue 4. Cool. If they did fix that, that's really good. But again, now we get into a stage where if you're running, if you built a lot of blue 4, red 4 armies, you lose them one way or another. Unless you, because you can't import the string on that. Oh yes. So before I was chatting about decks. The feature of, so my suggestion for you before you do the mod or before you mess around is that you can import and export your decks, right? Now if you make huge decks like I do that are let's say above, I don't know what the limit is, above 80 points. So if I do a full 100 deck, where's my full battle group? If I do a deck that's 104, I can't import or export because the string is too long. So if I export the string, it gives me this, but it's too long. But on your existing decks, if you want to save your decks before you start modding around with the game, then you can export the string, put that in a text file, make a note of what the army is, and then you can just keep a text file. We tend to dump to a channel in Discord so that armies can be shared and so on. But that's how you import and export. So if I wanted to import an army, I give it the name. and then put the string in here, and then you'll get the army in this area here. So a way of backing up your armies if you are modding around with the game is take the string and put it in a file and keep it handy. In the end, if you know your way around the deck building, after you build a certain number of decks, it gets fairly easy just to rebuild decks. It's not a big problem. So when you play a game, who will we fight here? Let's see. Red 4 full deck. With the mod, you can obviously choose more points. So I think the standard game gives you a maximum of 6,000 points, but the mod gives you that. When I've tried that number there, the game has crashed on me, so I've stopped trying to use that one. But I use 10,000 points pretty frequently, and I usually go total destruction, no time limit, and then you also get these. Now the very high is plus 800% income, so that if you want a crazy game, that's how to have a crazy game. So let's just launch this. Now, although it's told me that I only get 1 fob, I'm pretty sure that oh no, it says 2. Let's see, will it let me put down more than 2? Okay, so it says 2, but same as I thought, it gives you unlimited fobs. Oh no, maybe not. Okay, it gives me 4 fobs, and it doesn't tell me what's in the fob at this point. But the fobs take ages to drain out in the modded game. And obviously in my units now, well, why does that not tell me the numbers? Oh yes, here it does. So, for some strange reason, I now have 21,998 units available. Now, it will take a very long time for me to drain out 21,000 units from each box if I've got 15 boxes times by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different unit types. And that doesn't cover the naval maps, which would give me 9. So 9 times 15 sets of units at 21,000 per unit. And I don't know why mine is 21,998, but anyway, who cares? So once you begin, and the CPU's just ran away from Bravo. That's not very wise, computer.
Ammo, fuel, spare parts, anything you want.
Let's go take a look. I'll send a bunch of helos over there. Spend my 9,000 and go and kill them. So the reason why I play the Sandbox mod is simply I don't like the restrictions of the standard game. This mod and so on allows a much more unrestricted game in terms of units, income, and the scale of battle is way larger. So the fobs run out in the standard game, and then you spend ages trying to clean up the game as your units are all out of ammo or fuel, especially on the larger maps, which is no fun really. So I'm gathering my air fleet here, and I'm just going to run them up there and see if I can blast Bravo off the face of the earth. And then we will see. So yeah, you think, Mr. Griffin, that they amend more than just the NDF, which is always my suspicion, that they update more than the NDF file.
Yeah.
Someone need a guardian angel?
That's a lot of
Captain
lynxes.
and his crew welcome you aboard.
Are we all aboard now? I think we're all aboard. Okay, let the madness begin.
Checklist completed, ready to go.
How much AA do you think they've got? We're about to find out. I've got a sneaking suspicion that in later iterations of the game that they've slowed the links down.
You think?
Yeah, I think that it's not moving around the map. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's a lot of air force, but it's probably not going to be enough to stop me. Sorry to say, computer. I'm coming for your HQ unit. And nothing will stop me. The healer rush is always difficult to deal with. Well, any rush, I suppose, if you don't have enough of what you need.
Sky is ours.
Am I going to find and kill the HQ? Yay! I win! 3 minutes, 16 seconds. Yay! Awesome. So, anyway, there's a run through the Sandbox mod and the installer. Okay, so, you know what? Let's run through how the playlist thing should work. So, let's do that. So, if you choose... let's go back here. If I go to the Wargame, do I have my patch list? I have my patch list here. So if I've run it and a friend has run it and we've agreed on the settings, if we use the same patch list file, which you can distribute between your friends, it's not very big, it's pretty small. If you put your patch_list.txt in here and then you rerun this, you
Don't be too proud of
you do not get the user interface. Oh, this could take a few minutes, couldn't it, to download? But it won't give you the user interface, but it should set the game to the settings in the patch list, I believe. At least that's how it's meant to work. So what have we covered here in the video? We've covered installation. Let me just make a note here. So again, just to show here, it's now installing based off the patch list. It's not presenting me with a user interface to Tickbox. So the theory here is that if you drop that in, then what is actually in that patch list? Let's have a look. If I do edit. So how... Oh, I guess these are the equivalents of the tick box, right?
Yeah.
So all it is a tick yes or no. I was thinking there's some numbers and XML involved, but actually thinking about it, no, all this is it initiates the tick yes or no and the option. So that makes a bit more sense. So each of these items is a tick or not a tick as required. And that's how that gets logged. So if you have that there, then you don't get the user interface, and the system is going to patch to the list of tick boxes that you guys have set, which means everyone should get the same settings. So going back here, we've done the install, we've done Dex, we've done multiplayer. We've done deck choices and how to back up, copy, install multiplayer. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, help. So help can be found in the Discord here for the 6.0.5 version. Mr. Griffen, who's kindly joined me in the call, is the author, and it is your GitHub, isn't it, Mr. Griffen?
Not the original author.
No, I've put the original above that. So
Okay. Okay.
No, I've put the original above that, and I'm happy to try and help either through my YouTube. I occasionally get people asking me through YouTube for some help. I would suggest best place is hop onto the Discord. Frequently my YouTube videos end up being outdated by either eigen patching or the guys doing the Sandbox mod updating. So if Mr. Griffen has news, I think he's going to post it in the Discord. If the original authors have news, they're going to post it in the Discord as well. So I would suggest, if you really want help, go to the Discord and then ask in the help channel. That would be my suggestion. And do you want to say anything about your build, Mr. Griffen, on this video that I'm just putting out to help people?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Mr. Griffen putting the time in to find a way of fixing the XML issue and for getting this released, because I know people who like the Sandbox mod were stumped by the 2 hot fixes that left the original 6.04 in non-working condition. And I do know that WRD Noob is just busy, like something in life has him busy, and that's the reason why he hasn't got back. So many thanks to Mr. Griffen for doing this. And do you intend to try and support it in a way? Are you interested in doing more support, or was this a one-off, Mr. Griffen? What do you think?
In some way, it's
a hobby, right? Am I fair to say it's a hobby?
Yeah, maybe if Noob doesn't come back, I'm probably gonna support it.
Did you have fun doing it?
Some capacity.
Did you have fun doing it? No answer. What made you do it? Was it just an interest with playing with the XML, or you wanted to fix the game? What was your interest in that?
Well, I just wanted to fix it because I played it myself and it didn't work, so yeah.
So it was an itch you wanted to scratch, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool way of doing it. Well, thank you for putting in the time. I appreciate it. I like the Sandbox mod. And we've done a video now to try and help others, so I'll stick that up today. And hopefully lots of people enjoy messing with the Sandbox mod. So thanks very much, Mr. Griffen. And I'll end the video there. Thank you.